Ryan Patel is joining us now. He's a senior fellow with the Drucker School of Management at Claremont Graduate University. Ryan, U.S. limiting these chip sales to China. One of the firms, NVIDIA, I was just reading, they could lose somewhere in the neighborhood of $400 million in business because of this. This is just another step in this growing tech tensions. Describe the landscape for us.
Yeah, no, it's great being with you, Mike, as always. And, tech tensions might be a little bit soft, actually, because tensions meaning it may cool off, but it's gonna heat up. When you talk about semiconductors, you're talking about, these chips, the graphic processing units. These are what we're talking about. NVIDIA, like you mentioned, is going to generate from that business $400 million in revenue in that last fiscal quarter. They're obviously not too happy. They're going to look for some exceptions, so they're not going to sit back as well. AMD is another one that came out, but their statements was very interesting. They feel like it wasn't going to hurt their business moving forward as well. So tensions, yes. This is going to be more chess play going in the future because of supply and demand also for these companies.
And we look at these companies that get caught kind of in the crosshairs, but obviously they're not the only ones. How's this going to impact relations between these two countries, which have been fraught for some time now?
You're right, and it's a chip. It's a chip in this overall conversation, Mike, because yes, you see the headline is saying, hey, they're going to cut. U.S. is going to cut some of this, cut some of these companies' revenue stream, but there's still exceptions. So that means there's still an olive branch. There could be something in the future that settles this down again. As of right now, it's really deemed to U.S.'s strategic policy to continue to their technology aspect. They've been fairly consistent. So to me, it's a chip going into the conversation with China that if they come together in the future on certain items, that I could easily, Mike, see this be kind of more of an open relationship should they get on the same page.
And China's been making these concerted efforts to produce more of its own semiconductors. Where does that effort stand?
Full forge, right? I mean, I think that both U.S. and China, specifically China, has really been paying attention to high-end manufacturing. They know, and they know they cannot put all their eggs in one basket, meaning you can't have just one trade partner. You want to be able to build and build these companies and have the reliance within your own infrastructure. I think that's what China has done really, really well over the last couple of years, and that's why you're starting to see other countries try to catch up and try not to be as reliant to China and vice versa. So to me, to have a more sophisticated economy, to have a more diversification when it comes to the tech side, either from AI, as we're seeing in this conversation, or just having chips in general, it's really important. And I think China is not sitting back, they're definitely investing in this.
And here in the U.S., Biden is going to be traveling to Ohio next week to tout the CHIPS Act and showcase groundbreaking on a massive plant there, as the U.S., of course, trying to provide incentives to semiconductor industry here as well. Is this just another sign of decoupling, or are both sides just trying to beef up their avenues, so to speak?
It's the latter, Mike. I mean, you're talking about both economies, one and two in the world, getting hit because of COVID, coming out of the, if you want to talk about recession or just having hardships, to get back to that growth that both the U.S. and China want, they got to go look where? Internally, and build that infrastructure as quickly as possible to generate that revenue, to catch up in those double-digit growth if we ever see them again when it comes to GDP. So this is something obviously you and I could talk about, this should have been done years in the past, or however you want to look at it, but it's happening now and it's happening fast.
And it's a story we're going to continue to watch, and so undoubtedly we'll be chatting with you about this again in the future. Ryan, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mike.
Doctors in China